Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Allie and I have currently lost about 80 pounds with the carnivore diet. I started this diet in 2024 and fell off of it after about 3 months, and it led to me gaining back half of what I'd lost. And in February of this year, I decided that I was gonna try again and actually try. And I've been going strong. It's been about 4.5 months since I've started. I've stayed on it and I have been slowly progressing towards my goal health and my goal weight. And so I've been documenting my journey here on this YouTube channel. And if you haven't seen any of my other videos, I encourage you to go back and watch them, because it kind of just shares the ups and downs of what carnivore has been like. Just being super honest about it the whole time. And we've built a really great community here of people who encourage one another and give really great advice. Today's video is going to be focusing on 5 habits that have helped me lose 80 pounds. It's habits that I used to really have that made me gain a bunch of weight, and you know, none of these are going to be necessarily shocking to anybody, but these 5 things I feel like totally changed my progress whenever I really like locked in on them. If you're not on carnivore, it's still useful information. Most of this actually doesn't have anything to do with carnivore. It's just, you know, weight loss that is occurring naturally. So if you're someone who isn't necessarily like on a weight loss medication and you're looking to lose weight without that, this is how I did it. Everybody's body is different, everyone's experience is different, but this is what has worked for me. So we're gonna get started. Habit number 1 is really not necessarily a habit, and more so obtaining knowledge, was understanding my macros and understanding my body composition. The macros that you need and the ones that I need might be very different. For instance, I have a friend that has an autoimmune disorder. She looked at doing carnivore and her doctor put her on the Mediterranean diet, and it has worked really well for her. So everyone's body is a little bit different, okay? But for me, I learned through this process that I have insulin resistance, and so my body's breakdown of sugar does not occur the way it was supposed to. I was pre-diabetic before I started carnivore. Anything that I was eating that turned into sugar in the body was going to obstruct me losing weight. And I didn't know this about myself until I started keto a couple years ago. And it was the first time that I had really seen some significant progress on a weight loss journey. And it was because it was the first time I actually eliminated sugar. Carnivore is so much stricter on that, but it's one of the reasons that I've lost so much weight. And when you do the math, now again, everybody's different. I've had people comment that they haven't lost any weight on carnivore, but they feel good, they've seen healing. So this is just my experience. When I realized that the elimination of carbs and sugar changed my rate of success, that really unlocked something for me. Second, understanding that protein and fat-heavy meals carried me through the day. I knew nothing about nutrient-dense food, and before I was on carnivore, I would have thought like a healthy day of eating would have included a lot of fruit, maybe like yogurt, vegetables, like, and not that those things aren't quote unquote healthy, they just aren't the ideal sources of nutrients for my body right now, while it's not working the way it's supposed to be working. And so I was like gorging on fruit. I love fruit, and that is full of carbs, full of sugar. And in my head I was like, it's healthy though, like it doesn't matter. And I wasn't seeing any progress, and honestly I wasn't seeing any difference in the way I felt either, because I was still having a ton of carbs and sugar in my diet. And so I had tried the animal-based diet for a while, and my dad was like, you're not gonna get anywhere on this, because he knows me. A lot of people are successful on the animal-based diet, but for me and my addiction to sugar, I would look for any loophole to eat what I wanted. And so that was the same for keto. Like any diet that has any sort of like allowances like that, I'm gonna take that. Like I'll live in the gray area and gain weight from it. So understanding my macros and how my own body was working and processing food made a huge difference for me, because it's like I understood the key to success for myself. So I would really encourage you, if you've never had like blood work done, gone and seen a doctor, like seen your levels. See, going to my doctor last year and like being weighed at my doctor, him talking to me was really humbling. And I know, at least for me, I tended to really avoid the doctor. I still kind of do, honestly, because it scared me. Like I only associated the doctor with like, I'm not healthy. I know I'm not healthy. They're gonna tell me I'm not healthy and they're gonna scare me. And I didn't need to be more afraid. Like, I was already scared. That was a real eye-opener. It really grounded me in realizing how bad my lack of control had really gotten. Number one, understanding your macros was a huge game changer for me. The second thing was not having a very normalized sleep schedule and sleep routine. And I want to talk about sleep for a second. Sleep is so psychological. When you're not active enough during the day and you've been sedentary all day and you haven't done anything to wear your physical body out, and then you go to sleep really late, or let's say you try and go to sleep at a good time. I was trying to go to sleep at a good time. I had not made myself tired enough to sleep naturally. I did not have a strong circadian rhythm. I was taking melatonin every single night, and I was working. I mean, I was a teacher. I was working 8-hour days. Like, mentally I was exhausted, but I wasn't able to fall asleep. I was really battling insomnia. But when you look at like what I was eating before going to bed, usually full of carbs and sugar, it was very normal for me to have like a soda or something sugary carbonated before bed. And my sedentary lifestyle was really not helping. And when I say sedentary, it's really hard to be active when you're overweight, but no one's saying you have to go run a marathon. No one's saying you have to go lift weights at the gym. Just doing something, even standing. Like, instead of sitting on the couch and watching TV, I could have been like standing and folding clothes or doing the dishes. It doesn't have to be some life-altering lifestyle change to start. It really is such like a catch-22 cycle. When you're not being active, you will continue to gain weight, and then you will continue to not be active. So I was making no effort. I was looking for any opportunity to sit down, any opportunity to lay down, and I just was not tiring myself out. We all know what happens when we stay up late, okay? Usually we start to snack, or we get hungry again because you're supposed to be asleep. And so your body's like a fourth dinner, a third, dinner. Your body relies on those cells and all of your like internal workings to be rebuilt during sleep. And so if you're not getting consistent sleep or strong sleep, a lot of times it's going to be directly reflective of what you're doing during your day. And then the other thing is, this is silly, but like, my melatonin tastes good. It tastes good. It tastes like a flavored vitamin. And so when I started Carnivore, I was literally still craving sugar a little bit, I think, partly because my melatonin tasted like candy. And so I was still eating melatonin, and I didn't need to be. And now I don't take melatonin unless it's like I can tell I need a solid night's rest and I don't want to wake up at all. I think that your quality of life when you lose weight, it just heightens in every regard. Like, I remember thinking my bed was uncomfortable. My body would be aching sometimes whenever I would wake up, and I felt sore from sleeping in my bed. But it wasn't because of my bed. It was because I was so overweight. Like, my limbs and joints just hurt all the time. And so a quality night's rest is when your body is recovering and rebuilding and being restored for the next day. Just kind of finding any way I could choose the next healthiest thing that my body could tolerate was a really important thing for me. And it really helped with my sleep schedule, helped with the midnight snacking, getting on a good sleep schedule, making sure that your sleep is protected and you are working as hard as you can to get a good night's rest and let that time be productive for your body. Okay, number 3, not keeping junk in my house. Whenever you are on a specific eating plan, you really should only be buying the groceries that align with that eating plan. So for Carnivore, I should really only be buying meat, eggs, dairy if I'm doing dairy, seafood. There's no reason to buy anything else, but I do have a spouse in my home that is not on Carnivore. So I have stuff for him that I can't eat. If you're doing something without your partner, you're really gonna have to buckle down and understand that like their food is off limits to you. Have them help you with accountability by not letting you eat their stuff. If I have diet soda in the house, I'm drinking it. If I have Gatorade Zero or like any of these like supplemental drinks that are 0 sugar, I will drink them. I am a drink person through and through. So the best thing for me is to not buy it on the front end and just do myself a solid and not even have it in my home. And this is, I think, what gets a lot of people, keeps them from starting a diet, is they look at their full pantry or their full fridge and they're like, I spent all this money. I spent all this money on this and now I can't eat it. and I've been there. It is hard. I have videos of me throwing away probably $100 worth of groceries. There are places you can donate them. I would just say, if you keep pushing it off, are you ever gonna start? Like, there just comes a time where you just have to buckle down and like you're gonna get rid of it. But this habit of, on the front end, not ordering the wrong groceries was such a helpful tool to me. I also now get all of my groceries delivered, and so I'm not in the grocery store being tempted by everything on the shelves. Now there are some things that won't deliver that I have to go in and get, but it's all in the same area, and it's not like I'm gonna be going through the snack cakes and the cupcakes and all that kind of stuff. I'm a sweets person, by the way. The other thing is, like, you don't have to participate in everything that's offered to you, and this was a habit that I did not really understand. Like, if there was a birthday, for instance, like I taught first grade last year, okay? So probably every other day a kid's having a birthday. Of course they come to your classroom like, Miss Brightwell, do you want a cupcake? Baby, yes. The answer was always yes. I would watch my coworkers be like, no, that's okay. And I was like, man, couldn't be me. Yes, and give me theirs. I just said yes to everything that was ever offered to me. And I remember watching a video sometime in like January of this year. A nutritionist was talking about why skinny people are skinny. They don't have that scarcity mindset that like they're never gonna get a sweet again. They say no to basic things. Like, their answer isn't always yes. They decline sugar, they decline like sweets that are offered to them. Whereas an unhealthy, like overweight person looks for every opportunity they can to get like something unhealthy in their body. And so they say yes every time, and I would literally say yes every time. So understanding that no is an answer, no one's gonna peer pressure you. You're an adult, they shouldn't be peer pressuring you to eat something unhealthy. You can say no and you're gonna be fine. And so that was a big mindset shift for me. Y'all might be being like, Allie, that's like the most basic common sense, but y'all, that was revolutionary for me, okay? Number 4, going anywhere that I can't eat something and stay on plan. This is something I've gotten more selective over this time around on Carnivore. In the past, I would try and make any restaurant work because I didn't want to be burdensome to my friends or whoever I was going out to eat with. But at this point, everyone in my life that I spend a lot of time with, they know I'm on Carnivore and they are very supportive. And so if we're gonna go to a restaurant, which you shouldn't, by the way, the month of May, I only lost 8 pounds in the whole month. I stalled so much through the month of May, and when I was evaluating what that month was like, I was telling my dad yesterday, I had so many graduation parties, I was going out to eat for so many celebrations and parties and away from home, I went on vacation, like all of those things. I never cheated in all of those things, but I ate away from home so much. I was not good at monitoring my protein and fat at all. It was kind of like, come what may, I'll eat what's there. Yeah, I lost weight, but most weeks the scale didn't move. I didn't feel like I was making progress. And don't let yourself sit in that for too long, because even me, who is like determined not to break until I get to my goals, I wanted to quit. I was like, I'm not even seeing progress. I'm doing all this work and not even seeing progress. So don't let yourself stall out for that long if it's something that you're causing. Some people stall because their body plateaus, and that's not what I'm talking about. I was stalling because it was directly related to my habits. Now I refuse to go out to eat and spend my money on a meal that isn't going to keep me on plan. I'm not gonna enjoy and won't be worth my money. Like, truly. I went with some friends and my sister yesterday to a restaurant, and they're known for sandwiches and sandwiches only, but they have a really good breakfast sandwich that they basically turned into an omelet for me, which like I really appreciated, and it was only like $6 or $7, reasonable. But there are some places in town where it's like you're essentially paying for the whole meal and only getting the meat, and it's not worth it. So just don't even do that to yourself. Like, don't put yourself in that situation. So I've just made a rule, like I will not go anywhere for any sort of social outing with a friend if I can't order something that I'm gonna get my money's worth. It's gonna fill me up, it's gonna be on Carnivore, and like it's worth it to me. Now obviously if there's like a party or like a shower or something, that's different. I'm not gonna be a recluse just because they're not gonna serve something I can have. But to the best of my ability, when I can control it, I'm going somewhere that I can eat something. And this will keep you from getting in a bind. It'll keep you from being tempted and keep you from making these exceptions that you know, you really don't know at the end of the day, even if it's on plan, everything that they're putting in your food. And like, I've talked to the kitchen at several restaurants in town, and I pretty much rotate between the same 5 restaurants because I know that I can eat what I'm ordering and it's not gonna affect me for the worse. Be selective over where you're going. That really helped me. The last habit that I developed, I think maybe changed things the most for me, was planning out my day, my week, with the meals I was gonna have and where, even down to like a day full of running errands. Like today I'm going to work in my classroom, so I'm already thinking, what am I gonna eat today? Where am I gonna get my food? Am I gonna pack a lunchbox? Am I gonna leave the house without having a meal? Like, all of these things are things I would not have thought about whenever I was gaining weight steadily, because I would live to go through a fast food joint. I would live to go like through a Cane's and pick up lunch. That was such a source of joy for me, was getting fast food and going to do whatever I was going to do. I know that if I leave the house hungry, I'm just setting myself up for failure. Even though there are places in town where I can get like an altered fast food meal that is technically carnivore, why would I do that? It's probably not going to fill me up, or if it does, I'm probably spending a lot of money on it, when before I leave my house today I can have a really high protein, high fat, nutrient dense meal and probably be good until I get home. But either way, I think that it's the lack of preparation that causes a lot of people to start acting out in desperation or in hunger, and they never intended to cheat. They never intended to break their diet. Your body talks to you in those moments, like your weakness, you know, like I picture whenever I'm like, this is a silly visual, but like when I'm full, whenever, like say I ate like a really big steak and like a lot of electrolytes and like I'm feeling good, my safeguard is like up here, my like mental fortitude at a peak. But the hungrier I get and the longer I go between meals, that starts to lessen to the point where like I'm vulnerable now. I'm not going to make the most rational decision. The likelihood of me making the healthiest choice is shrinking because now I'm just desperate and now I'm just hungry. And so I no longer leave my house without knowing where my next meal is coming from, which sounds so dramatic, but I swear it makes a difference. So these are 5 things that, again, maybe extreme common sense to most people, but a lot of times weight loss isn't connected to some drastic change in our lives. A lot of time it's like fine-tuning and changing really poor habits that you already had. And you'll notice, like if you're a person who loves diet soda like me, I know that if I fully take out diet soda from my diet, I will probably, I'm not kidding, drop 10 pounds alone while on carnivore from the diet soda. I don't have diet soda every day, but it is something that like I look forward to still. This is not a habit I've broken, and I've been on carnivore for 4.5 months. It's a choice. Like it is a choice for me to keep picking that up, to keep adding it to my Walmart order, to keep ordering it when I go out to restaurants. And partly it's because I tell myself if I continue doing this, I can stay on carnivore. Like it's one of the things that helps me stay on carnivore. I'm just being honest. I'm not saying that logic is right. I'm not saying it's even a healthy logic. That's just how I feel. And so I will justify doing certain things like that because it's like, it's a necessary evil in my head. However, for how long I've been on carnivore, I shouldn't be having any necessary evils at this point. It's a choice to keep picking that up. I hope these habits help you. If you recognize yourself in any of these, let me know. And if you have habits that you've changed that have really been a game changer for you and your health, please leave them in the comments. As always, I love reading the comments. It's helpful to everybody when you share what works for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next week.